Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to another video, and in this video we are going to be continuing on with our Java programming tutorial series. And in this tutorial we are going to be covering some of the basic modifier types. Now we're not going to be covering all the Java access modifiers because there are some that have to do with more advanced concepts, so we have to learn those before we can more easily understand the other modifier types. But in this video, we're going to learn about three modifiers, or access modifiers, I should say. We are going to learn about public, private, and static. So first is public. What is public? Well, public means that anything can access it as long as as long as there's an object that can reference it. So for example, we have a string. A good example is we have a string, so string some name, we'll set that equal to Josh, right? And when we talked about strings before, I said that strings strings were also an object. So strings have some public methods inside of it that are used to manipulate it. So we can click on string. Sometimes it'll come up, other times it won't. It looks like it's not going to come up for me right now, but we can demonstrate this by doing some name dot. And then you can see we have all kinds of functions here. We have code point at, chars, which is a function or a method. We have compare to, we have compares, compare contains equal. All of these methods here, these are all public methods that you can call to modify a string. And that's kind of the nice thing about public, is that when you're creating something that you want other stuff to have access to, public is usually what you want to go for. Now, private is the complete opposite. Private means that you can only access this within the class that you define it in. Whereas public basically means anything outside the class can access it. Private means that only stuff within the class can access it. So, for example, if I have a private int, we're going to call it age. We're going to set that equal to 20. Only this class, only main, can access age. Right. So that's private. Not much to really go over there, really. Just anything within the class, only stuff within the class can access it. Now, static. Static is another modifier that you can also see in this file, in our public static void main method. And what static means is it basically means anything with this keyword can be accessed globally from anywhere without having to have, say, an object created for it. Now, if you remember in the previous tutorial where we got the max values for all the different data types that were numerics, the max underscore value is what we call a static constant. And that static constant, as you saw, we didn't have to create an integer object or an integer variable to access it. We just had to call it directly from the integer class. And that's basically what static allows you to do. On the subject of constants, we have final. Final basically means that you can't change it. You can't modify it later. So if I have an int here, right? So public final, we'll make this an integer. We'll set this to dog age. We'll set that equal to 10. So right now we have an integer called dog age that's set to 10. But what if, I'm going to add static here. What if I try to change this value inside of our main method? So we'll say dog age, we're going to set it equal to 5. Well, 6, I guess. You can see we get a red underline. Why do we get a red underline? The final field, main.dogAge, cannot be assigned. This means that because we assigned it to final, we might have an access modifier of final, we can't change it later on. This is typically useful, especially when you are creating specific constants that you need to use across your application. Typically, you're going to want to use final because you don't want those to be changed for some reason anywhere in your app. You just want to be able to use that value as it is anywhere all the time. So those are some of the very bare bones basic access modifiers in Java. Like I said, there's a few others, but we have to learn some of the more advanced concepts like inheritance, for example, and polymorphism and all that stuff before we learn about those access modifiers, because if we learn those concepts first, you'll be able to more easily understand those specific modifiers' purposes. So that basically does it, guys. Thank you all so very much for watching, and we will see you all in the next one. See ya.